Good evening. I'm sorry, no music tonight. It wasn't intentional, but with using the new platform, I've obviously pushed a button somewhere. So I'm sorry, you could probably hear my microphone. I tried it off, tried it on. But anyway, whether you're with me live, whether you're watching later, please do give me a thumbs up and do pop me a note in the comments so I know you were present. Well, it's the first Thursday tutorial time that we are live streaming on both YouTube and Facebook. Now, I seem to have frozen, so perhaps you can let me know whether or not you can still see me okay. That's a very unattractive pose that has just got stuck. Let me go on my overhead quickly and go back. Oh no, I'm still stuck. Am I stuck on your screens? Anyway, that's a very attractive look, not. So we've got evening all from Maxine and evening all from Gemma. Hello, Gemma. Hello, Maxine. Who've we got next? Not telling. Well, I don't know if that's like your YouTube name or if you have like to share your name. Hello, Carol. No music. Hello, Francis. Hello, Kim. Hello, Carrie. Lovely necklace. Thank you. Frozen, but can still hear me. Right. Well, sorry that I'm frozen. Let's go on the overhead. And oh gosh, it's all stuck. It's all stuck. Right, let's see. Let's just go. We don't want that. Ugh, isn't that typical? Well, at least you can see me down here, can't you? Hopefully it'll recover in a little while. And hello, handcrafted by me on YouTube. Lovely to have you join. Do pop us a note in the comments and let us know whether or not this is your first time of joining. I do hope your experience isn't that I am stuck and frozen in the corner. But this is what we're going to be doing this evening. We're going to be doing a necklace using wax thread, using some special ends, using some large hole beads. Now, if we have chance, I'm also going to show you how we do an alternative one where you don't have large hole beads to use, to have a look and see how we can do that, where we're using ribbon ends and tiger tail. So do let me know if you can see me okay down here. And like I say, hopefully that frozen screen will soon evaporate. Now, I'll just crack on, shall I? And I actually said that we only needed 2 to 2.5. But you know what? We actually need about 4 meters of wax thread. I got a bit wrong there, didn't I? 1, 2, 3, 4. Overhead is working fine. Well, that's good. Let's just go with that for now. I wonder if Studio 3, no. I'm just wondering if I can take me off YouTube messages block the screen when they come up. Okay, I'll bear that in mind. It's me that puts it up manually anyway, Kim. Right, so we're going to bring all of the ends together so that we find our halfway point, like so. And then we're going to bring both ends together so that we've got 4 times the thread. So that's what we're going to be working with, is 4 strands. I've got 5 on this, but after doing it several times, it actually works so much better. Oh, I'm moving. Yay, brilliant. Well spotted, Carrie. So that's what we're going to start with. We're going to do one of the ends here first. And what I'm going to do is an overhand knot. So I'm going to do a little knot like so, and leave some of the ends open there. So this one is the slate grey that I'm using. Now, the next little thing we're going to need is a large hole end. I think we'll zoom in just a wee bit more so that you can see me. So we've got the large holed end, a large hole bead, and we've also got one of these ends as well. What we need next is we're going to need some 0.6mm wire. You don't really need that much. Let me measure what we're going to use. I'd say cut yourself about 6 centimetres. And what we're going to do is do a bit of a wire wrap around here so that we actually bring out the wire wrapped end at the end. So have a little tail over your non-dominant thumb. And the reason why I'm using 0.6 is it's a lot easier to wrap than 0.8. You could use 0.5 as well. Okay, so we've just done a bit of a wire wrap around there. I'm going to leave that there for now. And we need to actually trim that down. But before we do that, let's make a big eye needle with a very fine 0.25mm wire. So I'm just going to wrap that together. How are you all today? Are you all good? What have you been up to? Jan said hello, had trouble finding you. Carol said hello or hello. We're now broadcasting in the Facebook page because I've got a new streaming platform and I can't stream from the group. So hopefully it's all okay. That's what we've done so far. A knot, wrapped 0.6 wire. So through that large hole, we've got the 0.6 wire and we've got that very fine wire to pull it all the way through. That makes it a lot easier. What we're going to do now is trim this down. And then we're going to add on the end cone. Might need to cut that down a little bit more. Now the large hole bead should sit nicely with the cone end. 3 pages. Oh, I should only have 1 Beads by Verchiel page. The others is Beaders. So yeah, sorry if it was difficult for you to find. Apologies. Hopefully it'll be easier from now on. And also, if you click on the event as going, you should get a reminder and it'll take you straight there. Now, got a lobster clasp. I'm going to use our round nose pliers, form part of a loop around one side of your round nose pliers. Yes, I am recording tonight, and you can watch from the beginning on YouTube or on Facebook. So we're going to wrap that round. Francis been beading, will need to post on the beader site. Yes, that would be lovely. Hello, Jackie. You were having problems finding us as well. Oh, so Jackie, you are watching from YouTube. Thank you for coming on YouTube. I know normally you watch us on Facebook, so perhaps you can let us know, you know, if the experience on YouTube is any different. No problem at all. Glad that you're recording. So there we go. Kim says she's been shopping with Sam and hanging doors with him. Sounds like a busy day, Kim. So that's a nice neat end, isn't it? Let's pop these to one side. And I am going to measure up against the other one. Now, obviously you get this to fit in whatever length you want, but I'm going to bring the second knot in around the 5.5 inch mark. But before I do that, I'm going to add one of the large bead holes. Now, this is my kind of top tip for threading on. Now, we're going to make another big eye needle with some very fine wire. And so what we're going to do is go through the one that I've got a loop, and I've got two open ends. Now, what I generally find is that if I pierce the thread with my needle, so I will come back to your comments in a second. Right, this is easier said than done. I'm just going to come off screen a second. What I'm trying to do is not working. So I might have to go to plan B. Don't know what plan B is yet. Right, it is working. That's what I mean. It's just pierce the thread with your fine wire. Sometimes you just have to go off camera because it just makes you feel a little bit pressured when you can't get it on camera. So does that make sense? So I've threaded those two through. This is what helps for threading on the large hole beads. But it'd be really interesting to see if we get any new viewers. Already we've got a new viewer through YouTube. If you are still watching, do pop us a comment, or if you're new, do let us know if you're new to beading. Right, and where is it? I've got one of the hearts. I'm going to push that through there. It's always a good idea as well to have a pair of pliers because that helps to pull it through. And now I quite like having that little bit of detail there. So this is where it goes round the back of the neck. And then again, we're going to do an overhand knot. So I'm going to wrap that round. Okay, let's just bring that up a little bit. Right, I'm just going to undo that a bit because it's a bit saggy in places. Do you know, it's actually a little bit nerve-wracking going on YouTube and Facebook. Isn't it silly? Because it really isn't any different, but it's just what you're familiar with, isn't it? And it's knowing your audience as well, is knowing who, because we're all used to each other, aren't we? Right. Bear with, I'm just undoing my knot, as you can see in the top screen. Oh, and I'm getting in a right little fuddle. I'm getting in a right mucking fuddle. To make sure I say that properly, don't I? Right. Try again. Right. What you could always do is have a needle that helps you guide those threads along. So this is what we've done so far. We've added the end on, we've done a knot at the top, and then we've just added a bead. So we haven't done much. And what we're going to do next is we're going to make this section, and that's where it comes in really, really handy to have all of the threads the same length, which I haven't got. So whilst I'm sorting myself out, have a chat amongst yourselves. Right, my threads are not even and it's really bugging me. Really bugging me. It doesn't make it very easy. Right. So Jan says she's relatively new to beading and I'm already lost as I missed the beginning. Well, no worries, Jan. Firstly, welcome to the world of beading. It's very addictive, very wonderful. Let us know if there's anything in particular that floats your boat with regards to jewellery making. You know, is there something specific you want to learn? Let us know. And handcrafted by me, have you watched us on Facebook before, or are you new on YouTube? Right, Jackie's asking, will I do my auction on YouTube or just on Facebook? I think I'm just going to do it on Facebook until such time as I am really familiar with it in YouTube, because the problem I had the other day when I went live was the fact that the comments weren't there when I went back. Now that potentially could be a big problem for me when going back to people, because you don't have a way of contacting people through YouTube. So Facebook would be the only platform for now. Right. What I've done to make life a little bit easier is I have done 2 needles, one with the looped end and one with the 2 ends, in the hope that it will work slightly better. So I've got the sort of 9mm beads. This is where it probably is a lot better to actually have I'm kind of dreading doing this online, I'm not going to lie. Oh, it's Maxine. Hello, Maxine. I thought it possibly would be, but I wasn't 100% sure. Right. Let's try it this way. If this doesn't work, basically it's come all, it's not flowing. It's not flowing like it did the other day. So you're probably thinking, well, if it doesn't flow for her, how the devil's it going to work for me? Well, there we go. Now, for the waxed thread, don't get a lighter to it, because it doesn't, it potentially might catch fire. You want to use it because it's cotton. You want to use it on something that's a natural fibre. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tidy up a bit so that you can see a bit better. There we go. Let's tidy up. So that's, I'm going to do a slight variation. So 2 of them I'm bringing through manually, 2 of the ends, and the other 2 I've got a needle on them. And obviously, if you want to, you can also add some knots in between if you wish. And also, just to bear in mind, you don't have to have 4 threads if you don't want to. But what you don't want to do is to make it look a bit odd. You know, if you've got those big cone ends, you might need to use something a little bit smaller. Right. Hello, Sue. So Maxine is using Facebook and YouTube. Oh, well, that's good. That's really good to know, because you can hopefully give me a little bit of feedback afterwards and let me know how it went. I think once I get into a rhythm, and I'm going to pop, so I want that way. I'm going to pop one of the little heart beads. So these, I've got lots of the bead strands. I've also put them on my website as well, because if anybody is watching from YouTube for the first time, they might not have access to Facebook, is I've put it all on the website. So just bear in mind that obviously, you know, I'll do my best to update them, but there is a chance sometimes they may sell out before you get opportunity to buy them. The second project we're going to do is with shell pearls, and I'm not going to lie, I actually did it with a view to it matching a dress that I've just bought. So can you see how I'm getting all of those through there? And it's a good idea to just keep pulling all your threads to the same length as you go, because they do get a bit knotted up. Oh, I've dropped a bead on the floor, and it's a bead I will need. A bead I will need. I'm having a little bit of a dilemma. I've just got my hair stuck in something. Oh, seriously. That brings back memories. It brings back memories of gluing my hair whilst teaching Kumihimo. It was not a good look, I can tell you. Not a good look. This bit's actually quite quick. Are the shell pearls actually shell? Yes, they are. And unlike, I mean, I adore freshwater pearls, but the price of freshwater pearls has shot up unbelievably so. I used to buy a lot of freshwater pearls going back years. And I mean, I can still buy from them, but I went and had a look the other day because after being on Jewelry Maker, they were saying, that pearls are the new diamonds, and they've really shot up in price. But I used to sell a lot of pearls at one point, freshwater pearls, but I found that people bought them for a treat rather than, regularly. But so to where I was going with that is the shell pearls are more perfectly formed because they're produced by shell. I presume they're sort of dyed shell, and they're probably milled into their shape. Whereas obviously your freshwater pearls are natural. Right, bear with me. Just working out my design. But they are absolutely beautiful. I do love freshwater pearls. This company that I buy, I can buy from, but I used to buy regularly years ago. It was so much cheaper then. I used to have someone come and visit me, and they would basically serve smaller companies like me as well as some of the bigger companies as well, like they may have gone to Deacons or some of the larger companies, and they were lovely because they treated all the small businesses the same. And they'd come with this suitcase, about 3 suitcases, and they'd say, "What do you want to look at?" And I'd say, "Oh, I'd quite like to just look at, the potato pearls, blah de blah." And they'd say, "Well, would you like to have a look at the Biwa pearls?" The Biwa pearls are like kind of sticks, but glorious. And I go, "Oh, go on then, that'd be nice." And then before you know it, they're like, "Oh, present your bill." But I wish I'd have bought more going back years. So they are really the new diamonds, is apparently so. So if you've got any freshwater pearls, cherish them. There's so many different pearls: Biwa pearls, Keishi pearls. I find glass pearls, the colour peels off. It can do over time, definitely. Shell pearls shouldn't do. Even like the vintage ones, the coat peels off as well over time. But freshwater pearls, honestly, it takes something ridiculous like 10,000 shells to produce a strand. I think that's why it's expensive, because they have to try and marry up all of the sizes on there, and not every shell is going to have a perfectly produced freshwater pearl. So I understand that's another reason for the cost there as well. So let's just show you. So isn't that lovely? So I've got the heart on there. That's like an acrylic, metallized acrylic bead. That's a full-on metallic bead, quite weighty as well. So I am threading the loose ends through first. The other thing that you could do is you could basically have all of the 4 looped ends together at the start and have the closed ends the other side. When we do the next one, I'll explain, and we'll do it a different way round. Oh, I need to take that off. So we've got another one of those. my needle's come off now. Everything's happening tonight, isn't it? Still, that's the thing about live, isn't it? You get to see that it's not all perfect. Who likes perfect? Who likes perfect? We don't, do we? Don't do perfect. Well, it's too bad if you do, really. Right, just remaking that. I don't even think I've put myself enough beads out as well. Doing well tonight. Do you know, I really organised it all earlier on. At least I thought I was really organised earlier on. Now, I do like the idea that all my lives will be maintained on, well, to a degree, I'm happy with the fact that the lives are all maintained on YouTube, apart from the fact that, you know, if it's really bad, it stays there for good, doesn't it, until I delete it. But the thing is, you can fast forward, can't you? And I think YouTube is so much easier platform to go back to than it is on Facebook. Now, don't forget, next week, Wednesday, I am doing our first ever coffee afternoon, where I'm going to pick out some items from the website and I'm going to do an off-the-cuff make. I'll probably do a little bit of prep for my first one. Right, bear with, because I need a few more beads, but they aren't too far away, and I don't have my pyjamas on, so that's a bonus. Francie says, stop worrying, we all love you. Oh, bless you. Right, 2 ends. We've only got another group of beads after this. One more group. The other thing is our beading social. That is coming up in March. We'll be releasing all the dates for that next week and the projects. So we're looking forward to that. We've got 3 booked in this year. So that's rather exciting. Right, so I want it that way. But how many of you sort of work with any cords much? You know, maybe it's macrame that you do. Perhaps you've not even thought much about using threads, but I think you can gain a huge amount of inspiration. I know I've said this before, but you can gain a huge amount of inspiration through going around the charity shops. And you'll notice that a lot of high street companies, including ones that are upcycled back to the charity shop, have actually got thread around a good part of it. And you can, so, you know, if you're stuck for ideas, just go and have a walk down the high street. And invariably, they're so cheap anyway. If you want an idea as to how to do the project, it's just purchase the item and then you're putting a little bit towards charity then, aren't you? So Jan says she does, a little macrame and kumihimo. She is still learning Kumihimo, but she loves it. Kumihimo is amazing. We could return to some Kumihimo at some point. Are you doing like the H strand, or are you doing it with beads? So Kim says, looking forward to seeing some of you again at the beading afternoon social. It's a lovely, friendly afternoon, even if you come on your own. It really is. And we're a really lovely, friendly group, aren't we? We have a bit of a giggle, don't we? And, you know, a lot of us met for the first time, you know, including the beading team, sort of at the beading social. But I know quite a few of you, I mean, I think Linda's and Sue's journey is about 2.5 hours. I mean, I'm not expecting people to travel that far, but, you know, you are all welcome. Jan moved on to 8 strand, and yes, using beads. Oh, you can do some glorious things with the beads. Right. Right. It's a place called Royal Wootton Bassett, the beading social. And it's near Swindon, Wiltshire. And it's at the church croft, it's called, which is like the church sort of tea hall, so to speak, but it's really nice. So we've done that beaded section, and then we're going to do another overhand knot. Like so. And then I'm going to put another heart on there. So Carrie says that Carol says she'd love to learn beaded kumihimo. Carrie is saying she loves the socials, and so does her granddaughter, and we love seeing you as well. So Jan said it's only an hour for me. I'll look out the dates, as would love a live meetup. Well, that would be amazing if you're able to come. Honestly, it's very relaxed. You get the kit included in your price, and we have a raffle, we do beading, and we have an afternoon cream tea as well. So it's very nice, and we have lots of laughs. Now we just do this end now. So we do an overhand knot. Now I've got plenty left. So you probably, I would say, estimating what I've got left is that to avoid wastage, you would get away with 3 meters. Let's make sure they match. It is a lovely afternoon. So that's it. It's up there now, Francis. Francis said she might even make her tiffin. Oh, Francis tiffin is the best. And we all get a little bit upset when we don't get Francis's tiffin. So it's up in lights now, Francis. I'm just adding that end. So Jan, if you missed the start, this is exactly the same. Okay, and before we do that, we are just going to grab a cone end. We are going to grab an extender chain. There we go. And a bit of size 6 6mm wire. So have a little bit of a tail, wrap that round, and you never know, we might have Adam coming to join us, because we all invited him when I did my live. If he's free, he said he'd come. So that would be really lovely. And that's Adam Humphreys, that used to be on a presenter on Create and Craft. So we're holding him to that now. We've got a bit of banter going here. I will put it up in the thread in a moment. So if you're on YouTube, you can have a look. Adam's lovely. Yeah, he's brilliant. I've always loved working with him. He's like I've said before, he always wants the best for everybody, and he's a really good laugh as well. And I think when you're a bit nervous, I think if you've got someone that can give you some laughter, it really makes you feel a lot more relaxed. But I was very fortunate that when I was on Create and Craft, I used to get him quite a lot. But you can't go wrong with any of them. They're all amazing people. It's just sad that it's not on anymore. Right, there we go. So that sits on the top there. And then we're going to do a little wire wrap loop. So just made a loop. I'm going to pop the extender in there. Whoops. And then we are going to chop that off, that tail, chop this one off. Okay, let's come off the overhead a second and just show you this one. There we go. Let's put that right. There we go. So you've got your finish there. Now we've got just over 15 minutes. So what I propose is having a little blast at doing one where you haven't got any large hole beads. You need to make another way of doing it. But before we do that, let's just have a look at your comments. Now, going back to the tiffin, Francis said, "I'm sorry again not to have any last time. I'll never live it down." We forgive you. You had more than enough on your plate. Kumihimo was Carrie's first project, and I made so many and got addicted. It really is. Now, Kim, what are you like? Oh, yes, please, Francis. Yeah, a lot of love for Tiffin and a lot of love for Adam. Yes, he's lovely. You were a bit out of sorts, Francis. Of course, you were not so good at the time. We are all a little bit barking mad, aren't we? Well, I certainly am, as my son keeps telling me, but who wants plain? Who wants plain? It's boring. We just are who we are. Right, quick tidy up. I've been busy doing wedding jewellery today because my son and his partner are getting married very soon, which is dead exciting. So I've done all the bride and the bridesmaid jewellery. Okay. Let's see. We might not get it all done, but I think we'll get a good portion of it done. Now, the good thing is you only need to measure this little bit here. Right, let's just go out a bit. So you want to add an extra inch or so on for the knot. Got 1, 2, 3, 4. And a bit extra for good measure. Now, see these? You've got 2 loops, one end, an end and a loop that end. If you were doing this one, make sure that you didn't do as I did. Use that end first so that you can thread your big eye needle through both loops, and you won't have the problem that I did in threading it. So just bear that in mind. I do all the mistakes for you, you see. Kim says it's lovely that you can do all that for them. It makes all the more special. Yeah, I mean, she was saying, oh, I know you're really busy at the moment, but it's like, this is what I do. Why would I not do it? It is. And it's nice because, you know, we sat and did some sketches and she chose her beads, and it's just completely bespoke then, isn't it? Completely bespoke, and what she'd like, what Lucy'd like for her day. And a lot of you have met Lucy as well at the Beading Social. She might come to the next one, but they've got their little 1-month-old as well as Daisy. So life's a wee bit busy for them at the moment. So make sure as well when you're doing this, because when you're doing this wire, is make sure it's super tight, because when I did one of them, it came off. So you could always just go over slightly on that knot. We're going to trim that down. Actually, we'll trim it down after we've threaded that through. Make sure you thread the wire through as well. So it doesn't matter if a bit of the wire is showing underneath. Now, how many of you have worked with ribbon ends? Now, Jan is asking, is that the full length of the necklace? No, it's not. This is just this section here, because what we're going to do next is actually add a ribbon end on there and work with tiger tail. So even if we don't get to do the whole lot, at least you will have a good idea as to how to actually do it. So round nose pliers, you just position it so you've just got a little bit of a gap above the cone end, but before you seal it, just make sure that you add your clasp or your extender chain on there as well. And then just trim that off. But don't forget to tidy it up as well. Trim that bit off there. Frances said she can't lie, ribbon ends worry me. Okay, that's fine. That's quite normal. All I would say is sometimes I still have problems with ribbon ends, but that takes me on. Kim is on the same wavelength. Um, you can always use a small amount of glue on the cone ends with a loop at the end, but also you can use glue with the ribbon ends as well. And I think E6000 is a good one. So first of all, we're going to actually make sure that they marry up, but I'm going to do an overhand knot just for decorative purposes. Just guide that, make sure it's nice and even. And then we're going to trim this so that it sits with your ribbon end. Yes, Jan likes a spiral bead on this one. Now, just to say, before I forget, all of the strands that I've done of these, I have done them so that you've got extras on the end that actually cover this bit and also cover these bits on the end. So on all of these bead strands that I've put up, you should have enough for the whole thing put together with the wax thread plus plus all of the ends. So what you're going to need next, can you just see what I've done there? I've just popped my nail over a little bit of it. You could put some glue in there, some E6000 glue. It's a really good idea. You could always have a bit of double-sided sticky tape in there as well if you find that it just keeps moving. Now, with your flat nose pliers, it can slip, as you can see. I've cut mine a wee bit too short. Have your flat nose at a slight angle and squeeze that along like that. They remind me of like a box, you know, if you're trying to put a box together, and then put your pliers at an angle and fold over the other side. Now, if it doesn't quite work out how you want it, just take them off and start again. It should just pull straight off with a little bit of gentle persuasion. Okay, now for the next bit, what we are going to do is we are going to add some tiger tail, which is beading thread. So Jan said that red is delicious. I'll have to check if I've bought that one. It is gorgeous. I'm keeping this one to go with the dress that I've bought. You're going to need crimp beads with this one. Let's move this one out of the way. How are we doing for time? We've got plenty of time still. And right, pop your crimp bead on. Pop that through your ribbon end. Crimp bead is this side. Fold that over. Go back through the crimp bead and push that up. And you've just got enough for a little bit of movement there, and crimp, squeeze the crimp bead. What we're going to do next is thread on whatever bead combination you want there. So I've got some bright red shell pearls here. I've run out of the other ones, but I've got some of these very nice sort of ruby red crystals. Francis says you make it look easier. That's very kind. And Karen is saying, what do you do with the samples you make? To be honest with you, a lot of them are in a box and they're labelled. they're labelled with bead embroidery, bead weaving, basic beading, wire wrapping, so that I can actually come back to it for when I do more tutorials as a refresher. Sometimes I send them to my friend Julie and she takes them apart if I've had them for a while. But sometimes I wear them. I always say I'm going to put them online. Now, I am going to put them online to sell them this year, but they have to be good enough, because I have to say, when you are demonstrating, it's not always to possibly, the same standards that you'd normally. What I'm trying to say is you're working at speed, and sometimes I might look at it and I think, do you know what? I'd want to do that again. I'd want to take it apart, but I'll still keep the sample because it's handy. It's handy and it saves time, so I repurpose it. That was a long way around the houses, really, wasn't it? The answer is lots of different things. If I'm part way through a project and I haven't finished it, then I just take it apart, because it'll never get finished. So these are the bright red shell pearls. Those are the burgundy ones. Oh, Carrie loves the red and she's just reserved a strand. Oh, that's good. You won't be disappointed, honestly. They are absolutely lush. Four minutes to go. I'm not sure we're going to quite get there in time. 1, 2, 3. But the good thing is that you've managed to see how it's done. But we'd love to know, out of the different ones that we've done tonight, so we've done a full necklace with full wax thread all the way through it, and we've done one like this where you can actually use any size bead. Which do you think you prefer? I suppose the other one is quite flexible, isn't it? In the sense that you don't have to worry too much about having all the large hole beads. I love this burgundy red wax thread as well. Now, I think we might as well sort of wrap that up now, but just you'd finish the same way. I would be inclined to, with this, is do the ends, same over, do it exactly the same way. And let me just show you. So to finish that off, so say that's attached already, you would just pop that on there, thread the crimp bead through, pop it through a couple of beads, tighten it up, and bob's your uncle. There you go. Now let's just go on off the overhead. Jan said she made beads out of polymer clay. Now I have something else to make with them. Oh, and that's quite good, because you can have, you can make large hole beads, can't you, with your polymer clay? Now that's something we haven't done before. Maybe that's something to explore, is a little bit of polymer clay. I think some of you have done it with me when we've worked, when we've done our beaders group in Swindon before. So Francie says, I can see making both of these types of string in both will be really useful. And do remember to make sure that you post them in our beaders group, Beaders of Beads by Verchiel. Now, if you want to buy the materials online, there's a page on my website that is under jewellery projects, and you can see and easily access all of the materials, particularly if it's a way back after the live. It might not be in my Facebook group. This is the link to my Facebook group as well. So I think that's it for now. So thank you so much for joining. And even if you're watching afterwards, please do give me a thumbs up and pop me a note in the comments. And would be lovely to hear from you as to how your experience was on Facebook and YouTube with both platforms running at the same time. That would be good to know. So anyway, enjoy. I've got to try and find my end timer now. I think I found it. Take care. See you very soon. Bye.